This is my second time doing this video. They shut my other account down. They suspended it, saying that Outspoken One reported me, saying that my page was a scam, which it wasn't. But I wanted to share with Miss Olivia and with Kwani just a few of the books I have studied, I have read. I'm sorry the conversation went the way that it did on the live. I thought that being Black American women, that we would be able to sit down, hear one another out, agree to disagree, be able to learn from one another, because you all have a lot to teach me, just as I have a lot to share with you. The book that I was referring to, that you will not find in a library, you will not find on Google, is called In Black America. It shows you that the first woman to run for president, and almost made it, next to Adam Powell, was Shirley Chisholm. Now I want to show you, like I told you, you will not find this book. It is in the Library of Congress. Now we're going to look at who wrote the book. Let's see one name on here, Zay Rothschild. Who runs America? The Rothschilds and the Rockefeller family. The person that my generation and the generation after me failed was this woman right here. Right here. Who's still in exile in Cuba on America's Most Wanted list. That Obama could have pardoned her before he left office, but didn't. There's over $1 million bond on her head to be returned back to the United States for charges when she was with the Black Panthers. A lot of people don't know. I studied Dr. King. Where do we go from here? Chaos or community? My opinion, we're still in chaos. We haven't learned yet how to be a community. I studied Dr. Martin Luther King. First of all, his name was not Martin. His father's name was not Martin. They had their name changed. Martin Luther King was not a very red man. Martin Luther King was brought in. This is from my studies. I don't Google everything. Google was written by the white man. From my studies, see, in the 60s, when the black man was tired of being tired, of being tired, of being tired, he was going to revolt. That would have been your first race riot. So they had to bring someone in to bring Negroes, which is what we were called at that time, under control. Let's say that again. Before Martin Luther King, we really didn't have a leader. His name was not Martin. Google that. He was an employee of the CIA because the black man was about to start a race riot. He was tired of being sick and tired, so they had to bring someone in. And you know, black people, we've been indoctrinated with Christianity. They brought someone in that put the fear of God in you. And of course, he became our quote unquote leader. When I say you have to question the question, you have to. You all need to know about the Boule. The Boule is the Black Illuminati. They run the black industry, from music to books, anything. They are very prominent, rich black people that have been in existence since the early 1800s. Please, YouTube the Boule, which is where all of your college fraternities come from. When I said we were here by default, this is the book right here. I knew about Amistad. When we were set free, you see, the odyssey of slavery and freedom. When those that were born in the United States, once emancipation took place, they were offered a boat ride to return back to Africa, their home, even though their language, their diet, their rituals were taken from them. More than you know, got on those boats and returned back to Africa. The ones who did not return remained here in America. The boats docked at Sierra Leone, which is Freedom Land. So to say that you have no ancestors in Africa is wrong. Why do you think when we try to find who we are, we have to pay? We have to go through DNA, everything to find out who we are, what tribe we came from, where did we originate from? Again, the question that is going to be on the 2020 census. Where did your ancestors originate from? If you're calling yourself an African American or a black, when you answer that question, you're going to have to put down Africa. And Donald Trump is not just sending out the paperwork, he's having people come to your home to make sure that you put down the right thing. See, I didn't call there to argue. I called there to share. See, we had 9 presidents. This was the first constitution written after Reconstruction. We had 9 presidents. Here is the indentured slave document that was signed in 1619. Blacks were first brought to English colony, where they were placed in indentured servitude for a period of years and were later released as free people. As free people, we started off as indentured servants. When I said we should be on the forefront, fighting with the Mexican brother, here is Henrique Diaz, a great revolutionary for black people. Here's Gustavo Vazas. Here you have Francis Domingue Toussaint Louverture, If it wasn't for him, the United States would not own from Louisiana all the way to Texas. This was the only place that they could not conquer because the Geechees from Africa refused to give up. And they kicked the French's ass until they gave up, and the United States paid. They tell you the Louisiana Purchase, but the amount of area included from not only Louisiana but to Texas. These are things they don't teach you. See, I didn't call there to argue. I called there to share. Richard Allen, Benjamin Banneker, they don't tell you that he was the surveyor in D.C. A surveyor. He mapped out every street in Washington, D.C. to confuse the British in order for America to win the Revolutionary War. The only thing we are taught is that Crispus Attucks was the first one to get killed, a black man. And you are barely taught that. You hear more about Paul Revere on the damn horse singing "The British are coming, the British are coming." He didn't lose his life. No, it was a black man that lost his life. These are free men that you're looking at. We fought every war. Every war. The Mexicans fought every war. Chicago was founded by DuSable, a black man, a French speaking. He started the first trading post out of Chicago. Do you see anything about him in Chicago? No. You see one street name, and then there is DuSable Museum, which is very small. He started the first trading. See, Europeans didn't have anything but rats. America, where the Indians were living, the black Indians were living. You can grow anything. Like you said, Miss Olivia, down south, that red dirt down there, you can spit on it and it's going to grow. It's going to grow. But see, as a people, we're very docile. We're very forgiving. We have empathy. So when Christopher Columbus again was sent here by Queen Elizabeth because she heard about all the gold that the Spaniards and everybody else was finding, and she wanted to know if the earth was round. On his first voyage, he took notes. And in his notes, it said, "I ran into a people whose skin was that of burnt coal, whose hair was curly and kinky." And he brought back with him some of the spices, some of the things that were being grown and cultivated in the United States. On his second trip is when she had him to bring slaves, or to make slaves out of the American Indian, or indentured servants. See, they studied us so very well. So very well. They know us like the back of our hands. They studied us more than we study ourselves. Much more than we studied ourselves. So, it is ridiculous when you hear people say people from South America are not black. They had to have somebody to pick the sugar. Puerto Rico is known for Bacardi, rum. They had to have somebody to pick the sugar cane there. Each island, other than Europe, could grow something. So, if you ever look at a map and look at the number of Africans that were dropped off in South American countries, then you would realize this is my sister and brother too, because they speak the language of their slave master or of their indigent servant. Does not mean that they are not of me. I've never been to Africa, but I know that Africa is the mother of civilization. I know I talk to young black boys, offer them money if they could tell me where Egypt is located. The school system is not teaching them. They had no idea Egypt was located in Africa. They had no idea that Africa was a continent. They had no idea that Africa did not have a name until the Neanderthals named her. And her first name was Mamu, or Mama. The oldest living relic that was found, who still had hair, teeth, the first woman found, was in Africa. The oldest. So I'm really sorry that the live went left. I came in on the end or the middle part of Ask April, who wants to fit in both worlds. That's impossible. Same thing I said. In school system, please do not let a white professor teach you your history. If you're in therapy, this is Mental Health Month. Do not expect a white therapist to be able to relate to you. How we raise our children, to them, is considered abuse. No one but your own can teach you who you are. We are the original Jews. For those that read the Quran, those who read the Bible, King James was black. The Bible needs to be decoded. Decoded. Moses was black. The people he set free were black. We held our own in bondage. When Moses was sent to the hill and he left John and said, watch over them so they won't return to their wicked ways. And when he came down and found the people, same thing as we are today. We love gold. We love jewelry. We love to flash. We love to shine. We turn right back to our wicked ways. And the punishment that was put is that you will be taken to a foreign place. You'll be taken to a people that you've never seen before. You'll be taken in bondage with shackles around your throats, your feet, your hands. And you will suffer in hard labor until you have atoned for your sins. And once you have atoned, you will be returned to your motherland. That was us. That was black people, African people. We all forget Kunta Kinte. That was not some book made up. That was the true story. He refused to give up his African name. Toby. They beat him. He gave up to them, but he kept Kunta. And from generations on, it kept going. The rituals of putting a baby over the head. But I find so many American blacks that scream, "We built America." Our blood, sweat, and tears are in this soil. Yes, our blood, sweat, and tears is in the soil. Yes, Jefferson drew up a law. He asked the black preachers, because see, you couldn't preach unless a white man was sitting out in the congregation, to make sure that he always preached, obey the master and the wrath of God. But with the preachers, he came up with a law. He said, "What is it that you all want?" And they said, "Land." Land. That's where 40 acres come from. It was a law that your ancestors, who originated from Africa, wanted land. Land was given to them, 40 acres. The mule came in because they didn't have any way to till the land. So they had to purchase a mule. So slavery has never ended. If you had to purchase the mule from the white man and you didn't have the money, then you had to work it off. You all saw 12 Years a Slave. You all saw that that man was a professional violinist. And that, again, was a true story, where they captured him. And yes, they had white people picking cotton. And he trusted in that white man to give this letter to his wife and the prominent white people that were backing him. He even gave him his barrel of cotton, because they had to turn in a certain amount of cotton every day, and took the white man's beating with the promise that he would give that letter so they would come and set him free. And that white man tore that letter up. Tore it up. Again, we're too trusting, we're too docile. We have yet to say, this is not our friends. I'm not against interracial marriages. I believe in energy. I believe in spiritual connections. And I believe in the universe, that we are connected to this universe. Race would not exist if it wasn't for the white man. It's a way to divide and conquer. Every person that lives in America immigrated here. The only people that did not immigrate here was African Americans. Black people did not immigrate here. That's when I said Show me where your ancestors crossed Ellis Island. Because right now, if I wanted to live in Africa, I would have to apply for a visa. I could stay there for 6 months. I have to leave for 1 day and then come back. I have to study all of their laws. I have to take a test. I have to have a background check ran on me. And then, if they feel like that I would be a good citizen for whatever country in the continent of Africa I wanted to live, then I would get a visa and I would be a permanent resident of Africa. So I look at emancipation as just like if they made an order today and said you no longer can harbor dogs. It's against the law for you to harbor dogs. What are the majority of the people going to do? Open up the door and let them out. Isn't that the same thing that happened to slavery? It was announced. Don't we celebrate Juneteenth because those people didn't know that they were free and they were still under slave conditions? So when emancipation was announced, where did the slave have to go? The family had been split up. They didn't have any roof over their heads. They were trying to find family members. A lot of them chose to remain with massa because that's all they knew was massa. See, we got to do better as a people. We need to study them the same way they studied the hell out of us. When I said I went to an all-white elementary school, it was mandatory that these white kids read Beyond the Mayflower, written by Lerone Burnett, who has since passed. But it gave the entire story of slavery, our language, our diets. Now, you can count the black kids in the school, but this was mandatory in an elementary school to read. Do you understand how they've studied us? Do you understand? They know what kind of food we eat. That they put these restaurants in our neighborhoods because they know we're going to eat scraps. That's what I call them, scraps. Because your natural diet is that of the earth. If you call yourself a Christian, if you call yourself anything, it says do not eat anything of 3 hoofs. A pig swallows in its own mess and then eats it. Your diet is supposed to be that of what the Most High put on this earth. So I'm going to ask, where do we go from here? Where do we go? Are we going to remain in chaos? Or are we going to be a community? Are we going to remain racist against our own? And it is genetic. It is genetic, which is why a white person can have twins and one comes out black and one comes out white. It is genetic when a dark-skinned child comes out with blue eyes. It is genetic that Greeks' hair is kinky like blacks because Hannibal was black, who conquered Greece and Rome and ruled, and his soldiers slept with the women. And that's why Greeks really can't stand to be called black. They have our ways. They talk like us. They so close to blacks till it's not funny. So no disrespect. Now I know the other day Shelly was on talking about Obey and how she was blessed by an Obey shaman. Obeys are shamans in Jamaica, but Obeys are considered devils, which they're not. They put in our heads that our religion was witchcraft. But when old Master's wife got sick, old Master's baby got sick, who did they come to? To the slave quarters and ask for the medicine man, quote unquote witch doctor, to come and try to save his wife, save the child. Because we knew the herbs. We knew the prayers. These books, I've shown you nigger, the word nigger, written by Dick Gregory. It's an autographed copy. I don't mind spending $50 on something that's going to educate me. Then I purchased The Adventures of an African Slave. Then I starred Connery from Chicago, who did nothing but investigate the Boule. And I asked my nieces and nephews, why do you pledge to a Greek fraternity? To a Greek fraternity that is ran by the Boule. And they try to pretend like they don't know who the Boule is. They know who the Boule is. I have someone I know, I don't call everyone friends, an associate, born in Jerusalem, speaks fluent Hebrew, that they're doing a documentary on her grandfather because he started the first settlement in Jerusalem. We are the original Jews. We deny so much of ourselves. We don't know our worth. We don't know our power. Because we have been indoctrinated. We have been beat down. We suffer from PTSD, which is hereditary. It's been scientifically proven that those that went through the Holocaust suffered PTSD, and their children, generations later, are still receiving payments. The Holocaust didn't last as long as slavery. You're talking about over 400 years of generation after generation after generation after generation that they just replicated what they saw the slave master do to women. You have to question the question. I'm not saying everything. I'm saying I'm a know-it-all and I know everything and you can't tell me nothing. No, I'm always open to learn more and more and more. I came up in a generation, each one teach one. Each one teach one. Which is why I can go to any neighborhood here in Chicago and these young gang members toting guns give me the most high respect, because I tell them, you're kings. You're kings. You can do anything you want to do. Your minds are what they're afraid of. We're committing genocide on one another, not only in bullets, but in words. I'm just as passionate. Do you think as a kid that I wanted to get up early in the morning and go to Operation Push on 55th and King Drive? It used to be called South Park, and sit on them hard benches and listen to Jesse Jackson. I am somebody. We had to have a person tell us we was somebody. We had to have one person to tell us we were somebody. Did anyone question how did Jesse Jackson secure a plane out of Memphis when the Memphis airport was closed after Dr. King was killed, and to be able to fly back to Chicago? Has anyone questioned why didn't Ralph Abernathy receive that seat after Dr. King was killed, the one who he was preparing? You have to. You can't believe everything you heard. They're rewriting history now. Trust, in the next 50 years, you'll sit down and talk about slavery, and these little young ones are going to tell you slavery never happened. That was a lie. Just like they got them believing that the whole thing, which this is about, that pitted light skin against dark skin, and said this might work for 100 years, it might work for a day, or it might work forever. But you take the light-skinned ones and you put them in the house, and you dress them better, and you feed them better. And you take the dark-skinned ones and you make them work out in the field. And you have an overseer, and that overseer was always black. It wasn't never I, it was we. Master, we got somebody out there that ain't working. He was allowed to have a gun. He was allowed to oversee. Now, I don't know how hot it get down south, but I would be mad as hell if I'm out there picking cotton, and I understand that when you pick the cotton, it's inside of a thistle that's thorny, and it makes your fingers bleed. That I'm out here all day long picking cotton, being told when to take a break, afraid I didn't pick enough for the day, and I'm sitting up looking at light-skinned people fanning the master, serving the food, and able to eat whatever was left over because they're light-skinned. And the dark-skinned ones get an allotment of food that's supposed to last them until the next allotment came out, which was barely nothing. That's how we started eating possum, rabbit. That wasn't our diet. You'll eat anything. Anything. We didn't eat no damn possum. That's a rat. We didn't eat rabbit, brains. But if you get hungry enough, you'll eat anything. Anything. Pig. Just any snake. They used the babies as bait for alligators. Not our people, the Neanderthals. So I want to apologize. I didn't think that that discussion would take a left to the point of the phone being hung up. Again, I would love to sit down and have a conversation. This is only a few. When I say a few of my books, I mean a few of them. I've got books on top of books on top of books on top of books on top of books. Because I tell my son that when you are speaking on something and someone asks you, where did you learn that from? That you can name the book, the reference, and the page, and the author. So I'm going to say this again. Young people, this is your world. This is your world. We failed you. We fell into addiction. We fell into not keeping the family together. And once again, I'm going to tell you, Look at the blaxploitation movies from the 70s. Look at The Godfather, when they agreed to put drugs out on the street, but to put it in the black neighborhoods because we were nothing but animals anyway. Yes, we were called porch monkeys. But damn it, some of the stuff I see on YouTube, we still got that mentality. Still have that mentality. I don't care where a person lives. I don't care how a person lives. I don't care what kind of car they drive. I don't care how much money they make. I'm just happy that they got a roof over their head. And I asked everyone to get off of the government. Who is going to maintain America when the Mexicans are not here? Because we think jobs are above us. Above us. They already set it up to where if you receive a voucher, the city can come to your house at any time unannounced. They can take a urine sample, a clipping of your hair, or your blood, no matter how old you are. And if it comes back that you are doing it could be marijuana, any illegal substance, you lose your voucher and you are put out that day, and you are not eligible to receive a voucher ever again. They're going to make people work. If you get anything from the government, you go get a job. You work that job, and your pay is what's on your link card, what's on your medical card, and what's on your voucher. You got to open your eyes and see what this world is turning into. Yes, I heard somebody say, which they were smart, study Dick Gregory. Yes, the Donald Trump with the red tie on is the real Donald Trump. The Donald Trump with the blue tie on is not Donald Trump. See, we missing so much. We missing organs. That our organs are worth hundreds of dollars. That's why you got so many missings. It's so much content that can be put out here instead of roasting and gagging. To make these young people aware, do not put down that you're an organ donor. Don't even put down your blood type. Because our organs and our blood are strong. Strong. The Most High made us strong because we are His favorite. We are not the Gentile. We are His favorite. So I'm going to end this again. Miss Olivia, I did not call to disrespect you. I know women, we get into our feelings real quick. And once we're there and once we're passionate about something, it's hard to calm us down. But I'm just as passionate as you are. Because I'm afraid of this world that's going to be left to my son and his children. So I'm going to leave this question again. Where do we go from here? Are we going to remain in chaos? Or are we going to become that community that we once were? Are we going to become that village that every child is our child? Are we going to teach our children? You never stop reading. You never stop learning. Understand who you are. Know your worth. Understand your worth. Never allow anybody to break their spirits. See, once a black man's spirit is broken, you got a broken man now. That's why when they're young, you don't allow a teacher, you don't allow anyone to break their spirits. Because now, again, you've got a broken man. My little cousin in Arizona told his teacher he wanted to be a pilot. And his teacher told him, I think you better pick out some other field because I don't think that's fit for you. He didn't tell his mother, he told me. And I said, you know what she was trying to do? Break your spirit. You don't allow anyone to break your spirit, to break your dreams. And then stop dreaming so much. So you got to put action behind dreams. You got to make a plan the plan, and then work the plan. You can't just sit up and keep talking about it and talking about it and talking about it and talking about it, because it gets you nowhere. Talk is nothing. I can sell anybody a rainbow, and if you believe it, you're going to sit there and wait on it. But when I deliver it, then you can believe, because I put action behind it. So again, I said it's 3 people that I would love to sit and talk to. Number 1 was Kwani. I said that way before today. Number 2 was Miss Olivia. And number 3 was the real Yvonne, who I was following when I found this sector of YouTube. I was following the real Yvonne, because the knowledge she's knocking to be a woman in her 30s, and it's never on roasting and gagging anything. Everything she puts out is pertinent to what is going on in this world today. So my apologies to you, queens, if I said anything to disrupt your peace, or anything that was against your morals and your standards. I am sorry. I was telling my experience, my story, and my beliefs. And hopefully we can get to a point where we can listen patiently and begin to agree to disagree. Agree to disagree. So this is to my young ones. My page was closed down. Yes, I was on Sean Bradley because of the way he was disrespecting black women and the words he was calling them. We're not bees, we're not whores, we're not that, we're queens. And reminding them that their words is their legacy. That years from now, their children will be able to go back and look at those videos. But one of his minions, because I'm not a vlogger, reported my page. I have over 200 people following me, and they're mainly young people. And I'm going to say it again, I got enough copies of this that no black young man walks out of this house without a copy. My house is decorated with nothing but African artifacts. So when white people come in this house, they got to look at the dirty deeds that they did. They got to look at men hanging from a tree. They got to look at Nat Turner. They got to look at their dirty deeds. And I purposely leave them up in the front so they can absorb it all. That I've had a couple of them say, oh, we can't do the work here, and leave. So it's all in their face, and it's all in my face, so I'll never forget. Kwani, if I had your number, I would call you. Miss Olivia, if I had your number, I would call you. But I'm going to leave you in my belief of what my true religion is. Shalom and wakalaka-lakum.